On this episode of Chase Classic Motors, we're in hot pursuit of the ultimate Mopar police car. This 1977 Plymouth Fury was the swan song of the big block Chryslers that dominated America's highways in the decade of disco. Now we're bringing this iconic enforcer back to the Motor City for an unforgettable homecoming. It's a big day for us. It's a big day for Chase Classic Motors. We're very happy that we're here, just outside of Boston, Massachusetts. Just, yeah, big thanks to Dan, the owner, for inviting us out here. And this is pretty special. There it is. Hailer lights up, beacon lights up, flashing headlights. I can't wait. This particular Plymouth is an unlikely survivor. Hard miles and harsh winters meant that most were bound for the scrapyard before Eric and I were teenagers. However, this Fury managed to survive long enough to undergo a major refit in 1999. At the time, it was owned by a cab company executive who used it for towing. Needless to say, this Mopar was up to the task thanks to its legendary 440 cubic inch plant. The RB Series V8 was good for 245 horsepower and 350 pounds-feet of torque, making our Blue Plymouth the fastest and most powerful production car of 1977. And the Blue Max is here. In all her splendor.
Sure is a pretty car, isn't it?
It is a fine-looking automobile. Can't wait to unload it back to the shop.
Yeah, this, these 77, 78 V-body police cars, the 440, this is a little bit of a holy grail car for me, especially an MSP. So,
I'll second that. Of the roughly 1,000 Plymouth Furies special built for the Michigan State Police, no running examples had ever been found. That all changed in 2020 when this car was discovered in a barn near Mackinac Island. With its numerous accolades and high-speed pursuit victories, these mid-sized Mopars are still fondly remembered by troopers to this day. That's why we've nicknamed this car Blue Max in recognition of its achievements. It was the award given to triumphant pilots for valor in World War I. Here it is.
yeah.
Back at Chase Classic Motors, safe and sound.
Yep, right where it always belonged, and back in Michigan.
We are back, intact, and with the Max. It's 1977 Plymouth Fury 440 Pursuit.
You know, we're very confident that this actually did serve the Michigan State Police. This is a real former Michigan State Police car. You know, just finding a numbers matching police package 77, 78 B-body with the 440 is hard enough. So yeah, this very likely is the only MSP one left. At least it's the only one we know of.
We're gonna have fun with this car.
Mm-hmm. The cool thing about it is it's pretty much turnkey ready to go if you want to show it now. But it does need a little bit of TLC. The trim could be a little bit better. The interior could be a little bit better. It just needs a little bit of spit shine around the edges.
What's a 440 whip without a whip antenna?
Let me close up the tail.
And we'll just get a quick peek inside this wondrous Michigan State Police Plymouth Fury. No sooner did we just pull this car out of the trailer and a passerby, this gentleman here works right here in the industrial park, he stopped and and immediately was awestruck by it. Had to come and talk to Eric about it. This is a treat for those of us that grew up here in Michigan in the 70s and 80s. To our knowledge, none of these other cars survived. This may be the only one. There could be one out in the field somewhere, there could be one in somebody's barn, but as far as we know, this is the only one documented and in operational condition. Last of a great era in Mopar police performance.
Yeah, I don't think you'll ever see another one. No. Oh, he said the wig wax.
Yes, he did. Well, how about that, Eric? This car already draws a crowd.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it?
It's a great day for us. And for fans of Michigan State Police heritage. Welcome to your new home, Blue Max.
Yeah, nice to have it back in Michigan.
That's awesome.
We'll have to make another, oh wait a minute. We'll have to make another trunk key for it. Oh, he said there's goodies in the trunk too. Let's
Yes, he
see
did.
what's in there.
Well, let's see what kind of goodies we have.
77 service manual,
Ooh.
antenna for the
Look at that
radar.
big radar antenna.
Let's see, another one of these. Ooh,
State Police lettering.
that's cool. Let's see, this is from under the dashboard. I don't know if that's spare or it just didn't get put on when he did all the dash work.
Is that a brand new spare or is that from
Yeah.
back in the day? Oh,
No,
it's
yeah,
brand
that's not a 70s one.
Okay.
Goodyear Wrangler SRA.
new. It's got your radio. Stock radio.
Yeah.
Oh my god. That's a
AM
relic.
FM. I love these.
It's a push
The
button.
mechanical presets.
That's cool.
What's in here? Oh, the license plates. He had these license plates custom made because to actually find real embossed
Whoa.
Michigan State Police plates is expensive and difficult.
That's
So
cool.
he had this place, licenseplates.tv, custom make these.
That's cool.
I'm gonna have to have some made for my Blue Goose.
I think so too. And what is your name, sir?
Anthony.
Anthony. So good to meet you. I'm
Nice to
Ross.
meet you. Ross,
That's
nice to meet
Eric. We are Chase Classic Motors.
Yep. No, you're good.
These are dirty.
You're okay. You're like me. I got the gloves for everything too.
Uh-huh.
Eric, nice to meet you guys.
Nice to meet you.
Always great to meet another car fan here in the area.
And we got the boss is a car fanatic. That's a thing in the industry and
Uh-huh.
cars and yeah, that's life.
Uh-huh.
In Michigan, you know, we're automotive, so
Yup.
the sickness that comes with.
So how's the Blue Max looking, Eric?
Very nice. We're just kind of assessing things and seeing, what could make it look a little nicer. The paint on it is, I think, in pretty good shape, although it's so dirty. This car's been sitting wherever it's been sitting for a while, so it's very dusty. But I think it's okay. We're gonna clean it up and polish it up a little bit. But there's some of the details are not all as good as they could be. The chrome is looking pretty bad on some of these door handles. The plating's falling off of the door lock pulls. Mirrors are looking pretty bad. So a lot of this chrome, when you got a car that's got nice paint on it like this one does, trim that's kind of starts to look horrible. Now luckily Chrysler kept a lot of this stuff and used it on a lot of other cars. So these handles, because Chrysler used them in the early 70s on the Roadrunners, and people still reproduce parts for Roadrunners, you can still get these. So we're gonna get some of these new. I don't think they used these on any of the early 70s muscle cars, but I'll check, I'll see. see if they're reproduced or see if I can get some nice ones on eBay or whatever. Some of this other trim is looking pretty nasty, but I've brought this back before. It's gonna take a lot of elbow grease, but some steel polish and some steel wool I think will bring that back, surprisingly well.
What about on the inside of the door panel?
Believe it or not, Chrysler kept a lot of this stuff too. You can still get these window cranks. I don't think we need them. The cranks are pretty nice on this car. I'm pretty sure you can get these. I haven't checked yet, but I'll be surprised if you can't. You can get these, but I think this one will clean up okay. We'll find out. And then, Chrysler, they literally kept these armrests and this piece of plastic back here into the early 2000s. You could still get this on the Ram B vans, for Pete's sake. So you can actually get that, once again, because they used it on the muscle cars. Matter of fact, my 67 New Yorker has armrests on the doors that look like this, and the plastic on the back, I think, is the same. They just used it forever on everything. The interior's been out. It's missing a screw here and there, so we gotta work on that. We also have to do some research on the equipment. I'm not sure much of this equipment is correct. It's period correct, but is it what Michigan State Police used? We'll have to find out. I kind of don't think that that's the right radar. It might be, but I don't think so. We've got this old Decatur unit here, though, that we have in stock from buying out someone else's collection. And this baby says Michigan Radar Task Force right on it. We'll have to do some research, but I suspect that this unit is going to end up becoming part of this car. Let's see what else. And of course, I know I keep saying it. I sound like a broken record, but I can't stand these seats. Fancy seats in a police car, it just makes me want to puke. Unless the car left the factory with it, for instance, 1991 Crown Vics, I know that almost all of them had carpet and velour seats, and that's how they left the factory. But most police cars, vinyl bench seat, or maybe vinyl and heavy-duty cloth. Not this, Corinthian leather or whatever this is. That really bothers me. Is it the right one? We still got to do our homework.
Details.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm so excited about this project. I know we're putting together our laundry list of little parts and pieces and improvements we're going to need to make to this car. And we've already put together a good list already.
Yeah, just those few things I already mentioned is going to be a few $100. And no small amount of elbow grease. I think I can bring this back. I've brought worse pieces than this back before, but it's not easy. It takes a long time.
Anything under the hood jump out at you? We'll need to make improvements to?
Yeah, I got to put the lean burn back on it.
I'm not sure if this was a lean burn car.
I don't know for sure. I mean...
Most of the Plymouths that we've found from this age group, surprisingly, were not lean burn cars.
Yeah, and honestly, that makes a lot of sense. Once again, I don't think lean burn deserves the bad reputation it has. I think people mostly just didn't know how to work on it. I know how to work on it. A lot of my own personal cars still have lean burn on them, and it's not leaving. I'm not taking it off. I think it's fine. But the problem with lean burn from a performance standpoint is how slowly it advances the ignition timing. So you really don't get full power until you've had the throttle open for a few minutes. That would be terrible in a police application. Speeder flies past you and you put it in gear and floor it. You don't want to wait minutes to get your full ignition advance. So it only makes sense for a police car to not have lean burn.
Well, normally when lean burn is removed from these motors, you can see that there are little rivets left over in the air cleaner. Are there any?
No, because the lean burn computer would have been right here, and if somebody repaired that, they did an awfully nice job, because it's, maybe they did, because it's almost too nice. I don't know, we'll do some checking, but you're right. Typically, if it had lean burn and they remove it, you see some scars somewhere. Scars on the air cleaner, pieces of a wiring harness hanging down, things like that, and I don't see anything, so maybe it didn't.
Well, that's great news.
Mm-hmm. Someone at one point converted it from R12 to 134A. I see that. That's a 134A service fitting. Now, he told us that the air conditioning does not work currently in this car, so we'll check into that, find out if we can make it work.
Well, as you pointed out, this car does need a little TLC, and one of the first things we're going to do is clean it up today.
Uh-huh.
Because it's got about a year or so's worth of dust sitting in the garage back there in Boston.
I'm still doing research on the fender tag too. I gotta tell you about this. There's a company in South Carolina that makes a book about decoding fender tags. That does get very, very complicated because, you know, the same codes don't mean the same thing year after year after year after year. I know those guys on, you know, online on YouTube that read those codes off on a 69 or 70 or 71 muscle car really impress the heck out of you when they know what every code means. But we can't really do that on a car from 1977. It's so far removed from those cars that the codes a lot of times don't mean the same thing. They may sometimes even use the same codes, but they mean something totally different when you advance time, you know, 5, 6, 7 years in the future.
From model year to model year. There's plenty to uncover here in this 1977 Plymouth Fury 440 Pursuit by the Michigan State Police.
I also got to check and see if these wheels are supposed to be black.
Well, we already know that the tires on this car are about one size too big. I noticed they were 235/75 15s.
Yeah.
And the most common equivalent for, I believe it was GR spec tires.
I believe so, yeah.
77 would have been the 225/70 R15s.
Yep.
That's what we run on our 74 Dodge Coronado.
Not only that, but these are pretty aggressive tires. They look like something you'd see on an SUV. So.
Well, they do say Wrangler.
Yeah. So.
Those would definitely be closer to pickup truck and SUV tires. They look great, but
They
alas,
look okay, but
they're a little too big,
They're a little too big, and the tread just.
a little too aggressive.
Yeah. This car would really look nice with a pair of these BFGs. That's a good
Goodrich
tire.
radial TAs.
Or if we really want to spend big bucks, we might be able to get some of those GR70s.
Bias plies.
Yeah, you know, Coker probably makes them, and they probably make them in a bias look radial. So it would be a radial tire, but it looks like a bias ply.
Well, that's all great news, Eric. I'm really interested in finding out more about our Blue Max.
I want it to be as correct as possible.
We got big plans for this car.
The police car collector world can be a little bit judgmental. And, you know, I have fun doing the research and all that anyway, and making sure it's exactly the way it was when it was in service. So there's two reasons I want to do all that. Number one, so we don't have people saying, oh, that's not right. Number two, because I'm having fun.
Well, we know some great vintage police car owners out there, and I've really enjoyed sharing pictures of this car, and the response, the feedback that I'm getting from fans and from people that just love these four-door B-bodies of this era. It has just been overwhelmingly positive, and I'm just so excited about the opportunity that we have here. So I'll let you get back to work, and we'll set up and see if we can start cleaning up the 77 Plymouth. Well, no sooner do we have the Blue Max here safe and sound in the facility, and we lose all our electrical power.
Yeah, I've been trying to clean this up because it must have sat somewhere for a while. It had some kind of water spots on it, some stains here and there, and the dust that was on it was like sticky. So I was trying to hit it with some quick detailer and wipe it off with a microfiber, and it wasn't quite doing it. So I dashed out to go get some more detailing stuff, you know, some clay bar and some polishing compound, stuff like that, to take care of the finer scratches on this. And by the time I come back, we've lost power.
I swear it wasn't me. Edison is looking into the problem right now.
Yeah, so I don't know.
And they also lost power across the street in the industrial departments behind us.
Yeah, and we got perfect weather today. So.
Fortunately, so we're not freezing cold here.
Yeah.
No more single digits like it was in Canada and New York State
Oh my gosh.
yesterday on the trip back with this car.
But I'm trying to make use of my time. I just bought new door handles for this car. They're on the way, and a used but nice condition driver's side mirror. I gotta look for a passenger side mirror, and then like the other trim on here that's, you know, that's not chrome plated. Like this stuff here I think is stainless. I'm gonna take that off and polish it with some steel wool and some metal polish and bring that back because, you know, it's not dented and stuff, but it does have some fine pits, and it's, you know, just not as shiny as when it left the factory. It's it needs some polish. So I'm gonna try to make this car look, everything look as new as possible.
And you picked up another buffer for the wheel?
Yes, I did.
Excellent. And you picked up a clay bar?
Yep.
Excellent. Well, since
And
the power
some
comes-
wax.
And some wax.
Yeah, I hate to say this. Nothing against the last guy that's taking care of it, but it doesn't feel like it was ever waxed.
How exciting. We just heard from one of our friends, car show friends, who is a auto journalist. And he wants to profile this car for Dodge Garage.
Okay, very cool.
So we've got an appointment to meet with him. He's going to come out here to the facility and hopefully interview us and talk a little about this car, about its history and some of its unique components and what made this time so special in terms of Mopar Police performance.
Yeah, that's going to be a lot of fun to talk about. These cars really were special. You compare them to offerings from the competition, and if I remember correctly, Plymouth sold 80% of the new police cars in 77 and 78.
They absolutely dominated the market.
Yeah, Plymouth, not Chrysler, not Dodge and Plymouth combined, just Plymouth.
Just Plymouth.
So, you know, there's a reason for that. So that'll be fun to talk about.
So what are your plans? I know we got a little daylight over there. You said you're going to remove some of the trim and see if you
Yeah.
can buff it to a fine shine.
Yeah, I think I will take the trim off around the windshield in the rear window and take it outside where I can see and start polishing it with some steel wool and some metal polish. So I'll be polishing it with finer and finer, I hate to call them grits, but finer grits of steel wool, and then bring it back finally with just a microfiber and some polish. I've done that before. It'll look much better than it is.
Fantastic. Well, okay, Eric, I'll let you get back to it.
Okay.
Some delicate surgery going on here.
Yeah, this trim has been off once before on this windshield. These clips that hold the trim on, they're not very robust. You know, when they removed the trim the first time, some of them got a little bit bent up. God bless Chrysler, they kept the same stuff forever. I have a lot of these spare at home from when I did this to my 84 Blue Goose. So I'm trying to very carefully take these off without hurting the glass. And I'm gonna replace the bent up ones with some nice ones. And of course, you can't get these windshields for these cars anymore. We had to get a windshield for the 74 Coronet, and we had to have it pulled out. You know, it's a used windshield because they don't reproduce it anymore. So we had to pull it out of a used car. There we go. Yeah, that thing is beat. It's just, I mean, I did mangle it a little bit getting it apart, but it was bad to begin with. So
Yeah.
I've got plenty more at home, and I'll just put them in.
And these are the tabs that hold the chrome trim around the edge of the windshield.
Yep. Yeah, it just snaps on. A little bit of wax. Is that wax? I don't know what that is.
But it's a good thing that you've taken this trim off because there are some leaves and debris under here.
Yep. Well, I mean, that stuff gets everywhere. And that's the stuff that, you know, rots things out. Leaves and pine needles and dirt will, you know, fall into the cowl, and they plug up the drain holes in the cowl, and then water gets in there. And then not only does the water have no place to go, but the leaves and the dirt hold the water like mud, and they get wet. And even when the puddle is dry, all that debris is still wet. And so then it causes even more rust. You know, it's why you can't leave a car like this even outside. You know, you think, oh, I won't drive it in the rain, I won't drive it in the salt. They still rust, even just being outside. You know, I've got cars, I hate to tell you what a pack rat I am, but I've got a car or two that's been sitting outside in my backyard over dirt, and the floors rust away to nothing, just being parked over dirt. You know, just because they sit there.
That layer of moisture just hangs in the air.
Yeah, they weren't rusted through when I parked them, but that's how they are now.
It's amazing that this Michigan car exists at all.
Yeah, it really is. You don't have to look far to find stories of all B bodies. You know, late 60s and early 70s Chargers all the way up to these, the late 70s cars, where they rust so bad in the back that the leaf springs punch through the floor of the car and actually go through the deck lid.
Well, once the lights come back on, we'll go through this car more with a fine-tooth comb and see just how much of that original steel is still here.
All right, so Ross and I want to do a quick thing on how you remove the trim on these cars. So I'll show you. I got this tool here. So I'm gonna feel around for where the clip is and then kind of pinch it and wiggle. And that'll help the clip to release from the trim. And if possible, I'm gonna try to pull up on the trim at the same time, but you have to kind of feel around for where the clip is. There, I think there's one right there. And usually you do hear a little tink when it releases. Not always, it depends. Nope, I think that might have been it. Of course, it's gonna be a little tricky to tell. I had to pick one of the worst spots. There's more of those leaves coming out. They just get everywhere. Yeah, I think it released. All right, so let me try to find the next one down. Is that it already? No, that one might be. It feels like I might be fighting a little bit of urethane that they used to glue the window in there. Yeah, I think so. I think there's some urethane in there. I think there's a clip there, but it doesn't feel like it's holding very well. It's probably a little bit bent up. Oh yeah, there we go, it's coming.
Does this tool have a name?
Gosh, I think when I bought it, it literally just said trim removal tool on it. And I mean, this isn't the only trim removal tool there is. Okay, here. You know, it feels like it's there, and for some reason the tool just isn't quite grabbing it. There is a lot of debris under here. Yeah, tool didn't release the trim. Why is it not grabbing? Oh, there we go. That bottom piece is almost ready to come off. Oh, geez, my tool's bent. This isn't the best version of this tool in the world. I'm gonna have to get a little bit more professional one. This is, just something I got from, I don't know, Harbor Freight or something. So, let's see here. I'm sure if I got one from Mac or Snap-on, it would be more robust, work a little bit better. There we go. There we go. Okay, I wanted to get that much wiggle room so that I can remove this piece right here, because it kind of these two pieces slide together. There we go. All right. Yeah, it's amazing how much dirt builds up in there. And look at all of that. If we had power, I'd fire up the compressor and blow that out. Let's see. And this, I mean, here we go once again. Here's another one of those clips that's just kind of rusted out and nasty. I'm gonna have to replace that. Same thing with this one. And then here, this isn't a clip, there's also a little plastic bumper here. What that is for is to fight gravity, really. When they assemble the car and they glue the glass in, that bumper determines the height of the window, basically. So they put the bumper in there, they put another one like it over there, they put some glue on there, they lower the glass in, and then the glass, of course, is gonna have a tendency to slide down that way, and it's held up by that little bumper, and that bumper centers it right where they want it to be inside the car. So, but yeah, I'll keep, man, Yeah, I don't know how well that's showing up on camera, but these are rusted through. You know, right there and right there. They're not supposed to look like that, so these have to be replaced.
All right, thank you for the lesson, Eric.
Yeah, I'll keep going. I'll get all this off and I'll polish this trim and find some more of these clips to replace the nasty ones.
And then we'll pick this up later. Power's back on.
Yeah, I just realized we don't know what carb is on this car. I mean, you know, I most of the time if someone starts with a lean burn car and they get rid of the lean burn, they put an Edelbrock on, which is, you know, an Edelbrock is kind of a, I don't want to say rip-off, but you can tell that an Edelbrock is based on a Carter when you take it apart. I don't think it's based on a Thermo-Quad. I think it's based on an AFB. But I was just thinking, let's see what's under there, and that is a Thermo-Quad.
Fantastic.
Interesting.
And it runs so well with it.
Yes, it does, but this isn't right. I mean, I'll have to check the service information, but someone's got the distributor advance hooked up to ported vacuum. It probably, I'm sorry, they got it hooked up to manifold vacuum. It probably should be ported vacuum. Almost certainly. It's got a bull vent solenoid on it.
Well, I call that a big win. An original factory Mopar carburetor on our big Mopar 440 Pursuit.
Yeah, and I mean,
like it.
Who knows? We still got to do some research on it. I don't know if this car was originally supposed to have lean burn or not. If it was, then this almost certainly is not the original carburetor. Lean burn cars, when you unlean burn them, you shouldn't really use the original carburetor because the original carburetor is jetted very lean. The electronic, you know, spark control system on lean burn is designed to work with a jetted lean carb. So you really should replace the carb when you do that. I don't know how it will run if you don't. Never tried it, but that's what you're supposed to do. What that's for?
So with the power restored, we were able to bring our Blue Max Fury outside and into the warm sunlight so Eric could begin removing dirt and contaminants from the paint with a clay bar. It turns out that air pollution from engine exhaust is one of the most common ways to lose the shimmer of the paint on any car, modern or classic. These tiny particles of pollution will sit deep down in the pores of the metal where a simple car wash just can't reach them. But as Eric explained, just a few light strokes across the hood with a clay bar and some detail spray will tell you if the paint is responding. If the clay bar drags a bit, then you know it's working properly. And once you feel it begin to glide effortlessly across the paint, you know you've got all the contaminants out. Just a few minutes of effort showed just how much dirt and debris was hidden inside our car's royal blue paint. As Eric completed detailing the paint on our blue battle wagon, we began to admire just how striking the car looked when the warm rays of sunlight glinted off of its regal blue paint. And pretty soon, we were back inside the shop to carry on prepping our pure Michigan State Police Plymouth. Well, here we are, mere days into bringing the Blue Max home to Detroit, and Eric is already knuckles deep into it. What's going on, Eric?
Well, the paint on this car is pretty nice. The car itself is pretty nice, but the trim is tired. So the stainless trim, I've been taking that off piece by piece and polishing it. And then something else I did, fortunately, I don't know how well the camera shows it, but these outside door handles are pretty nasty. And you know, when you got nice paint on a car and then nasty trim, it really takes away from the way the car looks. So I've been trying to find trim to replace all of that nasty stuff. I found a nice driver's side mirror. I haven't found a nice passenger side one yet. It's used, it's not new, but it's nicer than what we have. So once I see it in person, I'll get an idea of what we want to do. And of course, if we ever want to, maybe we could take these old mirrors and just have them replated anyway. But I'm digging my way down to get to the door handle because I want to replace that. Luckily, it looks like these are the same door handles as like a early 70s Roadrunner. And of course, cars like that, they still make everything for. You know, you want a mint condition Roadrunner, you could almost just buy the VIN and then build the rest of the car.
It is a 70s B-body.
So I ordered these door handles. They sure look the same. I'm a teensy bit worried because I think it says 71 to 72. It doesn't go all the way up to, 77, 78. But we'll see. I can send them back. I'll leave it sealed in the package until I find out. But I suspect this is going to be the same thing.
Let's take a quick look and see how they match up.
I don't know how well it's going to come up on camera. It sure looks the same to me. It's just like an M-body door handle, except the M-body ones have like a little bit of a recess right here. I honestly think that Chrysler used these door handles on almost everything for a very long time. I mean, it's the same as a Volare, similar to the C-body, but it's not quite the same. I think the C-body ones are longer and thinner, a little bit different shape, but as far as I can tell, without, until I get the door panel off and take it off, it looks the same to me. We'll find out. And then once I get that panel off, there's a few other things I want to do, if possible, just to make, the little details of the car look better. The cat whiskers right here, the seal along the window, that's looking pretty bad on this car. Now, if you type in window seal or whatever into steel rubber products for a 77 Plymouth Fury, they're going to tell you that they don't have anything. That doesn't mean that they don't have anything. They do have bulk strips of weather stripping and stuff like that you can order in, by the foot or by the yard or whatever, and you just compare it to what's in their catalog and you order it that way and you cut it and trim it to fit. So I'm pretty darn sure I'll be able to replace this. I also would like to replace the window run channel if possible, except I tried to do that once already on our 74 Coronet. It's the same window run channel, and where I ran into a problem was right here. This little rubber triangle here is part of the window run channel. So you can't just buy bulk window run channel that's the same as this here and put it in and expect it to work because you don't have this little triangle. How I'm going to deal with that, I'm not entirely sure yet. The back, I think, isn't going to be an issue. I think I can just order bulk of that and put it in. The fronts are going to be tricky. That's one of the things where you almost just want to get a parts car with good stuff in it and use it if possible. Except, this rubber stuff it's so old. It's already broken up here. And that's typically where they break, is right in that corner. So, even a parts car very likely will be bad there too. So, I don't know, we'll see.
And we're already talking about it. This car has taken off in popularity so quickly that we've been messaged on social media saying, hey, I might have a parts car you guys could use.
And we might need it too. I'm still a little bit dubious. Once again, there's a lot of research we got to do on this car. I've never seen a Michigan State Police B-body before with a tan interior in it. It doesn't mean that this is definitely wrong. It's just that all the ones I ever remember seeing were blue inside. So we might need that blue interior. Apparently that's what the parts car has, is a blue one. There's other kind of funny stuff too. I noticed that this car was built in April. It's got the MDH sticker, if you want to show that on the door. April 4th, 1977. Okay, I don't know if you can read that. It says MDH right there. That stands for month, day, hour. So this car was built April 4th at 7 a.m.
In 1977.
Yes, in 1977. We know it's 77 because up here, date of manufacture, 4/77. So yeah, you're right. April 4th, 7 a.m., 1977.
First shift.
Yeah, well, but the strange thing is to me, I think that's very late in the year for a fleet order. I think that they would have built usually you find out they built most of the fleet cars very early, like October, November. So to have it built all the way in April, when they're almost starting to get ready for the 78 model year cars, is very weird. I'm almost thinking that maybe this car wasn't ordered with the whole MSP fleet. Maybe this is something that they needed later on. And because it wasn't ordered with the rest of the fleet, it got maybe a couple of, weird options, like maybe a tan interior instead of a blue one. Once again, gotta do some research. We gotta do our homework on it.
That's right. And we know from experience, Ford built all the Crown Victorias on the assembly line always in October, early in the model year
Yep.
of the previous year. So
And
our
that makes
1991 was
sense.
made
I mean,
in-
that's how they typically do fleets. That's how pretty much everyone did fleets.
the orders come far in advance.
Yep.
And the manufacturers, they plan for that on the assembly line, because time is money, so they want to knock all 20 or 30,000 taxi and police cars out as quickly as possible, all in a row.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just the most efficient way to do it, because you're building them all the same.
Well, sounds good, Eric. I can't wait to see what else we uncover with our 1977 Plymouth Fury Police Pursuit, known as the Blue Max. Very gently removing the door panel and interior plastics.
Yeah, this has been off before. You can tell because someone has, put it back on with electrical tape, which is fine. Things are a little bit torn, but that's just because, sometimes you have to get in here. That old glue is pretty nasty, and it doesn't want to give up. So,
Yeah, we know this car went in for a major reconditioning around 1999 or 2000. In fact, the paint job that's on this car, according to folks I've spoken with in the community, this is from that repaint in about 24, 25 years ago.
All right, so that paint job is, like you said, it's over 20 years old.
And what did you notice about the condition of the door panel over there?
Well, I'm happy. Usually when people pull these door panels off, they don't, if they've never done it before, they're a bit ham-fisted. And they'll just get behind it with a screwdriver and pry wherever, and they'll end up tearing this fiberboard. It seems like most often it tears right around in this area, and sometimes if they're really nasty, if they're really, brutal with it, it'll go all the way across. But as you can see, this is actually in pretty good shape. And another thing they'll do is as they'll, pry, when I take these off, I feel around for where these clips are, and I pry at the clip. But a lot of people don't do that. They'll just pry wherever, and then they'll end up ripping these clips right out of the fiberboard. Now you can kind of glue it back together, but it's really never the same. Fortunately, whoever did this didn't tear any of this. I can't believe it. This is much better than I expected to see. Now some of these clips are broken. A couple of them are missing. That's no big deal. You can still get them. I'm just happy that the panel itself is in nice shape. Whoever did this before, probably knew what they were doing and definitely used kid gloves. So this is good stuff.
Well, friends and neighbors, Eric's hard work really paid off. No sooner did we take Blue Max to its first Cars and Coffee event when the automotive press approached us to get the story. In fact, it was American automotive juggernaut Haggerty that announced to Mopar fans everywhere that Michigan's long-lost Plymouth Fury police cars were not extinct after all. Before we knew it, Eric and I were being profiled by Mopar vlogs, fellow YouTubers, and even magazines dedicated to vintage emergency vehicles. Yes, it was a well-deserved homecoming for this once-forgotten Plymouth. We hope you enjoyed sharing the first part of the journey with us, because like every old car, our Blue Max Fury still has a few more surprises in store along the way. We look forward to sharing more amazing car stories and how-to repair segments with you as we continue to serve and protect great cars, just like this one, the 1977 Plymouth Fury Pursuit, the last known survivor, right here at Chase Classic Motors. We'll see you next time. If you enjoy automotive content like we do, consider subscribing to our channel or check out our website to join our VIP-only high-speed chase club for early videos and other great perks.